Hi everyone, it's Craig Davidiuk from the Enamel Pin store, and I'm back with my first art review of 2018. My good man Devril has sent me 3 designs to review today, and the first one we're going to start out with is this one. It's beautiful art. Nice work, buddy. So the first step in any enamel pin design process is to decide what process to use. So if you're unfamiliar, there's 2 basic ways to make a pin. You either stamp it out of zinc alloy, or you can print it. Once you stamp it, there's 2 different ways to add paint. There's hard enamel and soft enamel. So right off the top, this one, in some ways, you're kind of designed into a corner because you can pretty much only use one process, and that process is the printed one. So let's have a look here. Because of the complex overlapping art, you need to use the printed pin process. So look at these little tiny areas here. They're too small to hold color. So we don't want to diminish the artistic merit of this thing, so we're going to use a process that works for it. So this here is a printed pin, and the way they make that is they create a metal base, and then they print it out on a piece of paper and attach it to the pin, and then from there they cover it with a clear dome. So I think this is the way for you to go on this one, Devril. There's a couple points I want to make here. Designers and artists always struggle at the beginning with how to deal with text. So let's just say, for argument's sake, you were trying to put text on a pin. This is a good example of some of the struggles you're going to run into, because you have to have enough room in here to hold the color, because in order to create a separation area for the blue and the white in this case, you need to have a raised metal area, a border to hold it. And the reason is we inject the color in here with liquid epoxy, and it's all hand done, one color at a time. So there's not a machine that just stamps these out. It's quite labor intensive. Whereas the printed process, it's a lot less labor intensive. So just keep that in mind for the future. I have an enamel pin designer cheat sheet which helps you determine the minimum areas for adding color. So this little 2mm dot, if it fits inside the area at actual size, then you can add color to the area. So in this case, there's no way that that dot would fit in any of these areas. Same with the highlights and things. It's really hard to render this, but it's a really cool design. I'm very excited to see how this is going to turn out. So the next thing I want to talk about is, okay, so as you have this art spec to us, it's 2 inches wide and 2.65 tall, which is a little bit on the big side. However, I am noticing in enamel pin land, a lot of people are moving towards big pins. So it's up to you. The catch is, the bigger the pin, the higher the cost. So I just would advise you, like, if you're trying to hit a certain price point in your retail store, then you should know your hard costs going into it. And you can see all of our pricing at an enamel pin store. So right now, I have a maximum of 2 inches on my website right now for printed pins. And as you can see, for 50 pieces, it's $7.62 each Canadian. So that includes shipping and everything else, but that just shows you. And then there's quite a price jump between 50 and 100. So I would advise Devril to order 100 pieces at $4.87 and maybe drop this down to 2 inches. Yeah, so we take the longest measurements. This is almost 3 inches. So the minor challenge we face if we do that is that this text is going to become unlegible. So let's just see what happens. Whoops, got to constrain proportions here. There, so it's doable. It's a little bit hard to read, so the choice is yours. It depends on your budget and whatnot. So just to wrap this up, Devril, it's your choice as to what size the pin is. I think that 2.65 inches, I would probably need to put 2 posts and grips in the back because it's a big pin, and then it'll turn a lot. So it just depends on your taste. It adds a small cost. I think it's about 8 to 10 cents a unit. It depends on quantity and price and all that stuff. So just to wrap up, we had to select a process for this pin. We went with printed, and we're suggesting that we go in at 2 inches or 2.5 if you can, to reduce cost a bit. And if not, then that's fine. You can still sell these for $15 online and probably still get away with it because it's such a compelling design. And we also reviewed when and how to use colored text. So if you want to use the traditional soft enamel art pin process that everyone uses mostly, that's about 90% of our orders for this market, you have to have room to hold color. And we have a cheat sheet to help you do that. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me. This is Craig Davidiuk with the Enamel Pin store. Thanks a lot.